Donald Trump is for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And Democrats very often, in their messaging, they speak in terms and in concepts and not in the second person. I care about you. And political races are not about one candidate versus another candidate. Too often it gets pigeonholed like that. It is a race to convince a person about who cares about you more.
AOC wanted to ask her voters or just her followers if anyone voted for her and then also voted for Trump. Why is that? Because unlike everyone else in the DNC, the Democratic rat party, she actually cares about why voters voted for a person that she doesn't agree with. She wants to understand where the American people are coming from, and I have to commend her for that. And so she posted this viral video on her Instagram story to get her fans or followers to respond and give her some, clarity and understanding. And Joy Reid has AOC on, and they kind of talk about this. And Joy Reid obviously cannot wrap her stupid freaking brain around this idea, but let's just get right into it.
If you voted for Donald Trump and me, or if you voted for Donald Trump and voted Democratic down ballot, I would really love to hear from you. This is not a place of judgment. I'm not gonna put your stuff on blast or anything like that or dunk on it. That's genuinely not the intent here. I actually want to learn from you. I want to hear what you were thinking, and I just want to hear from you.
Joining me now is the...
I want to commend her for that. I really do. I mean, that takes a lot. That should be the most basic response, that you're not going to shit on these people for voting for Trump. But that's very uncommon in the Democratic Party. You're not allowed to... Why would you want to hear from Trump voters? These people are evil trash, right? That's what they say. So I honestly am giving her a lot of credit. And by the way, AOC looks fine. She looks gorgeous. She does look kind of like a rabid squirrel, but she still looks pretty. Honestly, one of the prettiest girls in Congress. And I hate when Republicans are like, oh, no, she's not. She's ugly. Come on. No, she's pretty. She is.
Aforementioned Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Okay, AOC, what they say?
I mean, there's a lot of different things that we saw. I think there's a lot of people. First of all, it's important to note that Democrats, oftentimes when we lose elections, we think that we lost people to Trump. And that is true in circumstances, but they don't look enough at the fact that we also lost people to the couch. Mm-hmm. We have two people that we're running against. So a lot of people say, this is why I voted for you and Trump. And some people say this is why I didn't vote or didn't vote top of the ticket.
Right. Skip the top of the ticket, which, by the way, there's been a lot of paranoia about the fact that Democrats were able to win statewide in some places while Kamala Harris lost. And I keep trying to tell people there are voters who go in and either just vote the top, Trump voters who will say, I just want Trump and don't care about Republicans, and the reverse, who say, I'm not voting top of the ticket, but I'll vote everybody else.
Right, right. And I think we saw some of that happen as well. But when it comes to people who split their ticket, I think a lot of people cited several different things. One is there is universal frustration in this country, much of it I actually think justified, that is raging at a political establishment that centers corporate interests, billionaires, and puts their needs ahead of the needs of working Americans.
100%. And this is something that Chink and Anna Kasparian talk a lot about. Chunk, by the way, comment Chunk, chunky yogurt for the algorithm. They talk about this all the time. Anna's way better on this too, but that, everyday working class Americans are sick of the elitists who only care about the corporations and all this stuff. So this is valid. This is valid. We might see a red-pilled AOC one day. By the way, I heard that she's pregnant. Is she?
And we know that we can either channel this righteous rage, because there are people whose SNAP was cut off, their child tax credits were cut off, but they're seeing people like Elon Musk getting tax breaks and kissing up to Donald Trump in order to do so.
But they vote for, then why vote for Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
And I think that, of course, is the question.
It makes no sense.
And I think part of it has to do with the fact that, and I think we're still in a process of going through the data. It's important to say that.
Yes.
And I actually think that it's important to say that the people who are rushing to to say, let me give you my grand theory of what's going on right now.
The problem is you went too woke. Sorry, Kamala Harris was running with Liz Cheney at her side. She wasn't going, quote unquote, woke.
If we had an election on November 5th and November 6th, you've got an answer.
Right.
Don't listen to those people.
I agreed.
Do not listen to those people.
Co-signed.
So I want to say that we should all have the humility of saying this is an ongoing learning process. However, there is something to be said about it doesn't matter that he's lying. He's saying that I'm fighting for you. In all of this debate that people are talking about with this woke thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
If you like videos like this, by the way, guys, make sure you subscribe. I post 2 new videos every single day. And honestly, the point she's making is so correct. Trump always, like, he was the one that said, they're against us, like we, the American people. He makes you feel like you're a part of him, like he's one of us. You know what I mean? He's not above us. He's one of us. So that's a very, like, humanizing attribute of Trump, despite being a billionaire and an orange one at that.
It's because we care about trans people, and that's why.
And by the way, only Donald Trump cared about trans people because he was the one running $130 million worth of ads. The Harris campaign said nothing about this issue.
That's right. That's right. And listen, the ads, it's not to even deny the fact that these ads were effective in certain areas. What I think people are paying too much attention to is the first half of that ad, which says Kamala Harris is, or that said, Kamala Harris is for they, them. Everyone's focusing on that. They're not focusing on the second half of that ad, where he said, Donald Trump is for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And Democrats very often, in their messaging, they speak and in terms and in concepts and not in the second person. I care about you. And political races are not about one candidate versus another candidate. Too often it gets pigeonholed like that. It is a race to convince a person about who cares about you more.
Let me ask you this question, because we've been talking a lot about RFK Jr. My mind is a bit blown. I mean, we knew that Donald Trump would go wild. There's no constraints on him. He could just put all his friends in. But we're talking about RFK Jr. and the possibility of people pulling back on measles vaccines, on another pandemic happening. You're talking about Matt Gaetz. There's a 17-year-old girl out there terrified that all of her records, all of the witnesses against him in this case where she was trafficked could be in the hands of Matt Gaetz, and he could be the most...
Oh my gosh. AOC knows this is bullcrap. She's like friends with Matt Gaetz. Come on. By the way, guys, I have met Matt Gaetz. I've hung out with him a couple times, like maybe 2 years ago. That is such like leftist propaganda. It is insane. He is like one of the few people that, honestly, in politics, like men or people that go into these political events or hang out with political people, they usually don't have their spouses with them. But Matt Gaetz always had his wonderful wife, Ginger, with him. And you could see the love between them. And it just, they attack him because he's good. He's like a pit bull in Congress. He's amazing in the hearings. He's the star of the congressional hearings. So it's just despicable.
Powerful law enforcement official in the country in a case where the president of the United States is an adjudicated sexual abuser. If you're a sexual assault survivor, you're thinking, oh my God, this country is out to get me. They're out to get me and force me to have children by sexual assault. So the message to women has been insane, okay? And the people he's nominating are TV hosts, et cetera. Do you think the people who voted for him that you've talked to were expecting this?
No. No.
Or true mass deportation.
Genuinely,
yeah.
No. And it's heartbreaking, actually. It is heartbreaking. And people may want to take like a kind of vengeful stance about this, but it is genuinely heartbreaking.
I'm cutting her off right now because, listen, Trump's the biggest critique that Trump had from former Trump voters is that the people he surrounds himself with are like these neocon, like warmongering rhinos like John Bolton, and he needs like people like Trump because he's an outsider. He's not just a politician. The American people, we're sick of politicians. So yeah, he's actually surrounding himself with, I mean, yes, some of them are politicians like Matt Gaetz, but people that are not like the elitist cringe politicians. By the way, if you're still watching all the way to the end of the video, you guys are the best. Comment an orange heart for the algorithm, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.